It shouldn't be that the pilot was successful and then you try to scale it, because again, in APAC region, because of its diversity, the scalability would be impacted because of the various different jurisprudence across the region.
Welcome to this new episode of ALB Conversations. I'm Sarah Wong. Nowadays, for in-house legal teams, it's not about whether to use AI anymore. The question teams are asking now is how they can actually make it work. They're launching pilots, they're raising budgets, but many are still stuck when it comes to scaling. And if that's a challenge globally, it's an even bigger one here in Asia Pacific. So, what's getting in the way? Today we'll be talking to Iqram Singh. He's a legal consultant at Axiom. Axiom is an alternative legal services provider which also offers AI-enabled legal services to in-house legal teams. They just published their 2026 in-house legal AI report, which helps to address some of these questions. Nowadays, we're seeing AI is part of the conversation of almost every single legal team. Adoption is up, budgets are rising, all around good news it seems. But what we're actually seeing is only a small number of in-house teams have managed to scale meaningfully AI across their organization. So from what you are seeing on the ground, why do so many in-house teams get stuck at the very start?
I think it's because a lot of legal teams are still trying to understand their way around using AI in their work. There's a lot of experimentation that is still going on amongst legal teams where they use a tool and see how they can actually impact the work. Teams that are actually able to optimize and operationalize it, they have a different perspective or a different way about using AI. What I've observed so far is that they have used AI they would first select a certain use case or certain work stream or certain pain point they're experiencing, and then they would use AI to actually see if they can alleviate that. So teams which are currently experimenting, there is a gap versus teams which are operationalizing simply because there's a different mindset on how to use the AI.
One thing that I often heard is that the best teams don't start with the technology, they start with the problem. And that sounds quite straightforward, doesn't it? But I'd imagine it's harder than it looks, because how do you actually tell the difference between a credible use of AI and perhaps just chasing the hype?
That there has to be a measurement metric to understand how effective AI is. Certain AI is currently most effective in situations where there is document heavy, repeatable, intensive tasks, such as contract review or regulation monitoring or cross-border transactions or policy review, etc. How legal teams can actually determine if AI is use case ready would be first describing the process they want to use AI. What are the pain points in that process? After applying the AI, is it the output ready for legal review? And the other points would be that what are the risks to using AI and can it be managed? And the last point I think one has to consider to determine if AI is use ready would be, is it scalable?
And you yourself work across the APAC region, so you are well aware that in-house teams here are amongst the most active AI users in the world. Yet what we are still seeing is that scaling is still a consistent struggle here. What does that tension tell us? And is this a challenge unique to this part of the world?
So based on that report, which was released, the 2026 in-house legal AI report, it seems that there is definitely a difference in perspective on how AI is supposed to be used in APAC regions versus other territories. I believe there is more optimization and operating use of AI in the Americas, almost double to what is being done by legal teams in APAC currently. one of the difficulties probably faced by legal teams in APAC is because, as you said, it was the diversity. Certain AI being particularly effective in certain jurisdiction or with a company's work in a certain market might not have the same effective use in another jurisdiction. So using AI or having AI to work consistently across the board will help legal teams in APAC improve its optimization of it.
Let's talk money because that's the elephant in the room and one of the key factors that in-house teams need to consider when they make a decision. Proving that AI is delivering value is trickier than most people expected, I'd imagine. So if a general counsel, for example, is sitting across their CFO and they need to justify the spend quickly, what should they be saying to them? What is the most compelling argument that they could possibly be putting forward?
I guess right now, the reasons why certain teams are effective, especially operationalizing AI, is that they were able to evidence not that they're using the AI, but also that the output or there's an improvement in their various workflows or their legal processes or their legal work, so to say. For example, there could be faster turnaround time with contract review, which they could be presenting to the CFO that there's an improvement there. It could also, again, like I think voiced a little earlier, one of the biggest business risks or problems is, especially in the APAC region, because you're dealing with multiple jurisdictions, the ability of a company to pivot to regulatory change, to pivot their compliance posture, as well as ensure that they're operating lawfully. So establishing those as proof that using AI has such an impact in helping with respect to regulatory change, various workflows, cross-border, again, contracts, transaction improvements, would help in justifying the use of AI in various legal teams.
A lot of the in-house teams are still using fairly general AI tools. Do you think something needs to be changed before AI meaningfully becomes a more core part of how legal teams operate?
Yes, this is actually very interesting. In my experience, using general tools help in certain aspects in when you speak with legal work. Situations where they require a lot of judgment call or legal jurisprudence or legal expertise, a certain general tool will not be that effective. For example, in the event if you're using AI to review a legislation, there have been situations where AI very confidently would say that business may be in compliance when it actually isn't. Or would say that you're not compliant when you actually are. This is because general AI tools do not have access to various or understanding of how the business operates. It doesn't have an exposure to a certain source document or source of truth or information. All about an organization is being applied in to help answer judgment-based work.
Right. Well, we always like to end with something that people can act on. So let's say here's a full room of general counsels in front of you. They already have an AI investment in place, but they are not quite sure whether they're getting the most out of it. What should you tell them?
Well, I would first say that they would have to first identify a certain process or work stream which they find is the most imperative or which AI can be used, keeping in mind the current situations where AI is most effective in work intensive or repeatable or heavy, heavy document heavy work. Create certain pilot programs and ownership of that pilot program where they can create certain processes and how AI is supposed to be used with that work. And then create measurement systems to see how effective AI is. Is the output coming along to what is expected or what they want? Is the result satisfactory, or what would a lawyer would the legal advice or the output be akin to what a lawyer of the same experience would provide. The other things that have to be explained is the importance of governance, AI governance, and continuous assessment of how effective the AI is with its output. It shouldn't be that the pilot was successful and then you try to scale it, because again, in APAC region, because of its diversity, the scalability would be impacted because of the various different jurisprudence across the region.
If one in-house team were to outcompete the other in the race of AI, what are some of the things that they're getting right that could set them apart?
I guess this is interesting what they would be getting right.
Training, change
Training,
management.
absolutely. Yes. There is definitely skill building is imperative. A lot of lawyers or legal experts are expected to understand how AI work without a certain more detailed training, I feel. That's why experimentation is still going on for a long period of time, because the lawyers are themselves trying to understand how the tool operates. Whereas training would help push a certain expert to upskill themselves so that they are able to operationalize it more effectively.